What's up, loves, and happy Friday. I'm so excited to be here with you all because we're kind of doing like phase 2 of the video we did on Wednesday, because why not? So let me tell you how this evolved. So each week I answer questions on here from you guys. I get 10 to 15 questions a week from you all, which is amazing, and then I choose the best ones to answer here live with everybody, the ones I think that'll benefit the most stylists and the ones that I'm the most passionate talking about. So a stylist sent me these emails, and I'm actually going to read them to you tonight. And I gave kind of a partial response to her on Wednesday, but when I look back and really read what she was expressing, her story is so amazing, and it's something I think all of you need to hear. So I've edited her emails enough just so that you don't know her identity. There's no way that you'd know who this person was, but man, she is a real-life educator who breaks down what her experience was like. And then she asked me a question about how to build yourself and your brand as an educator on social media. Hey, Sean. Hey, Nikki. Without sacrificing the efforts you're making to build a clientele on social media, right? Because if you're using social media to attract clients, you have to be posting different things. Hey, Claudia, so good to see you. Hi, Nicole. Then if you're using social media, to build as an educator, you'd be posting different things than you would posting to build as a stylist, right? You're trying to attract a different market. So 2 questions in one. I want to read her email because it's just so truthful and heartfelt. And there's so many points that I want to touch on for you guys. Those of you who are educators are going to be like, finally, somebody said everything I'm feeling. And those of you who are thinking about becoming educators, this is the words from an educator's mouth. So I think it's going to be really great to hear. And then we will talk about building yourself up on social media as an educator. Sounds good? Let's dive in. My name is Britt, and I'm a social media and marketing strategist just for hairstylists. So my goal is to make your life as a stylist a little bit easier, a little bit more organized. Jamie, my friend Jamie's here, to help you to spend your time and your money in the right places, quit wasting it in the wrong places so you can grow your clientele the quicker, faster, easier way using today's technology. It's never been easier to grow a clientele. You just have to understand your tools at hand to do so, and I'm here to share some of those things with you today. If you like what we're talking about, as always, you can give me the Facebook thumbs up, or you can tap the screen, give me some hearts. You can hit the share button below and share this with any other stylists who you think might enjoy it as well. Hola, Suzette. So good to see you. Great convos this week, by the way. Great convos. And as always, keep the comments rolling. It's my favorite part, being able to chat and interact with you guys. It's very boring for me to sit here and talk to myself. Shanice says, dang, you say that so fast. Shanice, I literally have to slow myself down because I'm a fast, rapid firer. Can't help myself. Jamie, if you're still here, I'd love for you to chime in when I start talking about building yourself as an educator on social media. If you can't stay that long, I totally understand. But if you're here, I would love to hear your point of view, because I think you would be someone we look up to as the expert in that field, and I would love just to hear your take on it. Shannon, I'm glad you love fast talkers. You've come to the right place. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to start by reading a couple of emails, and then we'll transition a little bit more into talking about social media. So this comes from someone I'm going to call Jay. So she says, so here's the summary. I want to open my salon, and my goal is to open it by 2017. Whoa, good for you, girl. I plan to join the Thriver Society to assist in that goal. What? 10 more days. She's counting down till the doors open. The Facebook group has made me realize how much time and effort I really need to be spending on growing my business. So she's part of my Facebook lab. So we're a group of 24 stylists working to use Facebook to grow our business, and it's going amazing. So she's a part of that experience, and it really made her realize the way that she needs to focus on growing her business and how much time and energy she should be putting into marketing herself. She's having a lot of aha moments, and so that's kind of what sparked this. She says, I realize it's becoming difficult to manage all of my responsibilities, one of which is as an educator for brand X. So she told me the brand name. I'm not going to share it with you guys. I think it's irrelevant. Yes, there are some perks, but overall the demand on my time is high. Partially because I'm a perfectionist, I demand a lot for myself, and that won't change. It's the way she's wired. What is she going to do about that? And the financial return is low. So in her role as an educator, her financial return is low. Moreover, if I've come to a point where I have to choose how to spend my time very wisely, is it even worth my time and effort? It's also worth noting that Brand X just announced they're going through a transition this year, and the future of the education department is uncertain, at least until June, when things stabilize again. So she's at this crossroads where she's partnered with this major brand as one of their educators. She's feeling like the pay is low, and she's wondering if it's even worth it. So she says, ultimately, what I really want to ask is simple. As a business coach who knows this industry, would you say there is a benefit in being a national educator to my business behind the chair? Or is that just a hobby when that time would be better spent elsewhere? So I don't have an answer to that question, in that If being an educator is a hobby that you love, then you should be spending your time there. Like if it fuels you up and it makes you feel good to walk into that salon and teach those stylists what you have to share, and walking out knowing that you bettered yourself and uplifted them, that to me is time well spent. Regardless of if you make $100 or it's free or you make $1,000, to me that would be money well spent. I don't know how it feels to you. That's something that you need to like do a little self-check on. If you're just in the education for the money, and I know that you're not, so don't think that I'm saying I know you're just in this for the money, because I feel like I know you at this point and I know that you're not in it for the money. But if all you're looking to get out of education is a paycheck, you are going to feel very unfulfilled, because that's not the fulfillment you're going to get from it. Yes, you can get some money, but you're right. And that it's not going to pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars at this pace or at this place that you're at right now. Platform artists obviously make the big bucks, but for the majority of us, 95% of us, that's not the place that we're at. So is this a hobby that where my time would be better spent elsewhere? Depends on what your goals are. If your goals are to level up as an educator and expand and see where this can take you, and you want to continue networking within the industry, no. I feel like you have to start somewhere, and it is a lot of hard work, and we will get into that in a second. And you're just at the place where you're in the hustle of it. That being said, I feel like when I read this, that you were kind of falling out of love with it anyway when you reached out to me, and you're realizing that if you put more time, energy, and effort to your business behind the chair, you won't need those few $100 extra a month that you're getting as an educator, and it will be more fulfilling to you. And if that's the case, then yeah, maybe you should step away from educating. Shannon says, I choose to be an educator to stay in the beauty industry when my body can't be behind the chair as much as I want it to. Also as a business owner, so it's a lot right now. So Shannon has a very full plate, but her role as an educator is more of a long-term strategy, which is perfect. So maybe in the now, it's like not really helping to pay the bills, or it's not fulfilling you in that way, but in the long term, you see it as more of your long-term plan. I love that. Jennifer says, if you can't afford the supplies, perhaps hold the students accountable for bringing the tools they need for the class. So if you're a brand educator, Jennifer, generally speaking, you can't do that, right? So the salon just pays whatever they pay to the brand. The educator comes in, and the educator gets a very small portion of the proceeds given to themselves. And she'll touch on this in a second. I know this to be true, but she states her truth, so I want to read it to you guys about how she's paid. So she's going to break it down, and it'll be from her mouth, not mine. So you'll really get to know. So on Wednesday, I answered some of her questions. So if you have more questions about becoming an educator, go back and watch Wednesday's live video, because I talk a little bit more in depth about how to become an educator and what it's really like and how to market yourself, blah, blah, blah. So in response to that video, she sent me another email yesterday. And it says, thanks so much for addressing my question. The tips you went over were great. I wish someone had warned me how expensive it is to get started. Thank goodness somebody like you did. I guess I'm beginning to suspect that I didn't pick the best company to sign on with. And I have to tell you, love, it's not the company you signed on with. This is generally speaking the reality with most brands. So what you're experiencing well, let me go into what she's experiencing, but this is not necessarily specific to this brand. This is just where you get started educating. I don't feel supported or promoted by the brand. So this may not be true for all brands. I don't feel supported or promoted by the brand, even though I ask for feedback and new challenges regularly. That's unfortunate. And that may be brand X's problem. That might be a huge problem on their part. As far as marketing, I stopped using social media as a platform to promote my classes. It's not what my clients want to see. You're right. It's not what your clients want to see. And I do want to touch on this because I didn't touch on it on Wednesday. I think a lot of stylists go into education because they think their stylists will think it's cool and it will help them to grow their clientele. Here's the deal. Your clients think it's cool that you're an educator. It will not make them send you more referrals. It doesn't make them feel like they need to pay you more money. They think it's neat. They think that they can say, wow, and she educates too. That's great. It might make her love you a little bit more, but it doesn't necessarily help to explode your business. It's a secondary business. Your clients think it's nice you're doing something you love. It's not going to be the way to success behind the chair. It's two separate businesses you're running, and it's really, really important to know that. So when she says, my clients don't necessarily care about seeing about me teaching or promoting my classes on my Instagram, so it's not helping me to build my business there, that's correct. They don't. They think it's neat. And there is a point, you do cross a threshold where you become a bigger educator, and your clients do think it's cool when you're doing really big things and you are a big name educator, then it starts to be really cool. But for most of us when we're starting off, it is a little bit more in the hobby state of you're just getting your feet wet and you're just playing around in there, and you are trying to build two different businesses. So let me get into social media in a second. I want to finish her message. It doesn't matter how many students I have in a class. Brand X pays me a flat rate and it isn't much. That is how most brands pay. So somebody mentioned, like, if it's too expensive to teach the class, have the students bring supplies. So with branded education, it's not like that. You get like a flat salary, generally speaking, for the, you have a day rate. So you make $200 for the 6-hour class, no matter how many students are there. And they have some kind of student cap. That's something that the brand figures out. But you just make the certain stipend that they're willing to pay. And the exchange for that is they set up the class, you don't have to. They provide the supplies, you don't have to. They do all the prep for you. You can basically just get the assignment, do the behind the scenes prep, show up to the class, teach your material, leave, and receive a paycheck, right? There's not a whole lot of other funny business involved, right? You're an employee of the company, essentially speaking. Now, when you're an independent educator, you can do that however you want, but this is more about brand education at this point. They pay mileage, but no compensation for travel time, which is also very common. They'll pay you for mileage, but if you're on the road for 3.5 hours to get there, that's your free time. And you're giving up your Sunday to drive to this Monday class because you have to be there the night before because the class starts at 9 a.m. and it's 3 hours away from your home. You're giving up that Sunday night. And yes, they'll pay for the hotel stay. And yes, they'll pay for the mileage, but they don't pay for that time. They don't pay for the evening away from your family. So you have to keep that in mind. All of this, and I can't imagine it will get better when they're bought out. I feel at this point it's time to bow out gracefully and focus on my own future and my own staff. I love to teach and have gotten great feedback from students, so perhaps I'll revisit the educator idea in a few years once my business is up and thriving. I kind of agree with that. So I think there's this idea of if I build it, they will come. And it's just so not true. That if you post cool things on, like, teaching class on Sunday, teaching class in 2 weeks, click the link to sign up, and then you hear crickets, it's because you haven't built yourself correctly yet. So when you guys get excited about educators, do you, generally speaking, pay to go see the educator that nobody's ever heard of? Or do you get most excited to see an educator who's got a buzz about them? It's the one who has the buzz, right? So in order to really build and grow and market yourself as an educator, the buzz comes first. And I realize that creating the buzz is hard, but this is why I push building an incredible social media presence now, because it is so much easier to book classes if you're a brand educator, if you're not a brand educator, to put your name out there, to sell tickets if there's already a buzz. And if you have 200 Instagram followers or 200,000, I don't care. It's not a popularity contest to me. It's that somebody can look and say, wow, what this person's doing is amazing, and I want some of what they got. And we are living in a world where that does have to come first most of the time. There has to be some kind of credibility. And when you do work for a brand, the brand vouches for your credibility in a certain kind of way, right? But if you're going independent, you have to create your own credibility. Now, I am helping to coach somebody who is a branded educator, but because, generally speaking, you just get sent out to classes based on where your brand wants you to go teach, she wants to get herself out there faster. So we're actually working on ways for her to market herself behind the scenes, behind the brand, to get herself out there faster, and it's working. And it's really, really cool and exciting. And it's because she's creating a buzz. And she doesn't have 1 million social media followers, but damn, her social media pages look good. And when you are somebody who gets her promotional material as an educator, and you're like, well, let me see what she's all about, you look and you say, wow, she's got something that I could learn from. And that's what you need. You need that spark of, that is somebody I can learn from. So don't feel like you have to flush your Facebook or your Instagram pages or your website even with banners that say, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, come learn from me. Your reputation will speak for itself, and your work will speak for itself. So for those of you starting off as educators, whether you're branded or independent, let your work speak for itself. Showcase your best clients. Showcase the best hair that you do. And those who want to learn what you're doing, remember, your students are going to be stylists behind the chair. So they want to know that you can teach them some kick-ass stuff behind the chair. And to show that you can do that, you got to showcase great work from behind the chair. That's how you're going to prove yourself. So even if you're an educator building on social media, showcase really great work behind the chair. And you'll notice most educators, that's what they do. So follow the lead. Don't feel like, oh, if I'm going to teach, I have to make this huge shift. No, still post the stuff that your clients want to see, and other stylists will want to emulate that and learn from you and see how you did that. Does that kind of make sense? It's not like building a second business in that way. If you build a beautiful presence for yourself and a great reputation, others will want to learn how to do the same. So don't overthink it. All this being said, Jay, I don't think you made a mistake becoming an educator. I think it was a beautiful step in the right direction. I think there's a huge misconception about how easy it is to get started as an educator. It's tough. It's like building a second clientele. That being said, like I said on Wednesday, there is nothing more personally fulfilling, in my opinion, than being able to shape, mold, and help create the future career of one person or 100,000 people. So the more knowledge you can share within the industry, the better. And if that's with Brand X, great. If it's you mentoring your future staff, great. Whatever that is, awesome. But follow your heart. I don't think you educating is a waste of time. I do think you need to prioritize, particularly if you're about to become a salon owner, and do what feels best to you and do what satisfies you the most and what you feel is like your true path. David says, which of your programs would be best to sign up for as an educator that wants to grow? David, I don't have any programs right now that teach educators to grow their business. Probably one-on-one. Any educators I'm coaching right now is through one-on-one coaching. I don't have an online course for that because all of their paths are so unique and different that I'm only offering educator coaching one-on-one. So you can go to brittseva.com/coaching to check that out. But if you want to learn to grow your business and clientele and improve your marketing efforts as a stylist, then it's going to be Thriver Society. And most people I'm actually coaching one-on-one to grow as educators are enrolled in Thriver Society because they want the branding and the business building education from there. But I don't have a program specifically for like how to become an educator. Oh, you did one-on-one. I do it by application. So you'll see if you go to brittseva.com/coaching, you can fill out an application, and then we'll move on from there. Jennifer says, if it's easy, then it lacks in value and worth. Amen, Jennifer. If it's easy, it's generally not worth it. And if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? The best things in life take hard work. I love that, girl. Okay, so much love to you guys. Happy Friday, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye, loves.